me. I saw this on Twitter or something recently, and I wish I hadn't. I would have rather pulled my eyes out. That I hate injuries. I hate disgusting injuries. You're in the ring with a chap I've never seen before or since. He was of, let's call it politely, of generously proportioned carriage. And he tries to jump off the top rope, and his leg totally buckles out. Who was this guy, and what happened?
That was he was one of the trainees at the ECW House of Hardcore, and because of his build and look, they had him doing sort of like an Abdullah the Butcher type gimmick. In the school, he could do the Abbey elbow off the top rope beautifully. So there was this setup. Gary Wolf's neck had gotten broken a few weeks or months before, and I was working Pitbull too, and so there was this sort of waves into this finish. I get Pitbull number 2, Anthony Durante, his veins and arteries were reversed. So you and I, when we push our blood to our face, we turn red. He would turn blue because he was pushing non-oxygenated blood up. Really a strange thing, but a great asset for wrestling, right?
Yeah.
So we would do the thing. Franny would distract him. I'd take his chain, cut him down, wrap the chain, put him in a full Nelson. He'd turn himself blue. During this time, the Blue World Order is supposed to hit. Then this kid is supposed to hit, and this is all going on behind me. What was his name? What do they call the kid that broke his leg? It was like an Arab name of some kind. And anyway, he gets up there, and I didn't know at the time. Anthony's 280, and I've got him in a full Nelson, so it's not real easy to move around with him or facing the camera. And eventually, Sandman is supposed to come out and hit me to knock me off, just sort of like one of these wild ECW finishes. So everybody's come out, everybody's in the ring doing their thing behind me. Sandman comes out, and I push Anthony's head out of the way, and I feed mine to take the shot, and he walks right past me. Right before he gets to the ring, I hear this, sounds like a baseball bat snapping, and then these ungodly curdling screams. It just over top of the audience. And I mean, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden, whack, I feel a whack right across my neck. And the second one, and my arms dropped, and my brain's going, get the hell out of here. And I dropped down, and I rolled to the apron. I'm laying there for a second, and I went to reach up, pick myself up with the rope, and my arms wouldn't move. Meanwhile, this screaming is all still going on. It's chaos. Francine helps me out, and as we're walking to the dressing room, my vision's going like this. And we get to the midpoint between the two curtains where it's pitch black, and I collapse onto my elbows. I'm out. I'm not knocked out, but I'm out. And so what happened in the ring was when this kid, I'll call him Abby, got up there, he had never done that elbow in front of a live audience. It was always in the school. So he panics for a second. I've watched the playback. He goes to go, and he starts to panic, and now his momentum is going, so he tries to readjust and fix it mid-momentum, and came down the leg, and it literally snapped the tibia and fibia in half, and which is a horrendous break. And he was in a lot of pain. The odd thing was the aftermath of that. They thought my neck was broken, and I'm thinking, like, is this karma? Gary's neck just got broken, and how am I going to make a living and all that? And the ECW doctor finally calms me down, and he said, look, it's going to take you to the hospital. You got a stinger that's going to check you out. So I get in the ambulance, and there's an older lady like EMT, and she says, what line do you want your arms in? What arm do you want your lines in? I said, lines? I'm not getting any lines. I'm just going to get x-rayed and coming back. She put her hand on, she goes, honey, you're going to be in the hospital a long time. You got a broken neck. And I started going, oh, son of a bitch. They get me to the hospital, and I lay there in this like super high collar. And I'm laying there for hours. And I'm thinking, like, what the hell's going on here? Like, why is this taking so long? And I can hear screaming down the hall. It didn't at that moment put it together. Here, they took the kid to the same hospital, and the whole staff was working on him. And finally came back, and thank God it was just a stinger. And I went back to the building later. But yeah, he never wrestled again after that. But he does some local stuff now. I saw him a couple of years ago. But yeah, it was a horrendous break. And again, like I said to Paul afterwards, nobody knew that he didn't do this in front of an audience before. Like, this is what we do can be extraordinarily dangerous if you're not well versed in it. and point taken with this kid, and had an incredibly severe injury that should never happen, but it did, and thankfully he's okay now. But that's the kind of, when you're booking, you've got to be cognizant of those things, because the mass transit thing in Boston, this kid now, looking back, I am shocked and very relieved that somebody didn't die in an ECW ring, because there was again, looking back, there was a lot of crazy stuff going on. The swing scaffolds with Tommy and Brian Lee, the 4 table high bump, when he hit him, the tables didn't go like this, like they thought they tipped. The fan, the fire with the branding of Mick and Terry Funk. There were so many times that something could have gone much worse, and luckily it didn't. But point taken, looking back, for anybody going to try that same stuff later, be cognizant of that.
As you know, I've mentioned it a couple of times, I'm particularly squeamish when it comes to leg injuries as well, because even my own, and I'm just like, I have PTSD from my own. It's like I was there.
Yeah.
And, it's disgusting. It's basically the Sid leg snap kind of thing. So don't hunt it out, but I will find out what that guy's name was for when I post this.